Chapter 1. The power to access and direct subtle energy is inherent in you. It's time for a concise primer on energy. After all, this entire audiobook is about accessing the energy you need, and that special subtle energy, to become your own best ancestor. While the topic is somewhat complicated, I intend to make it easy to grasp for a very important reason. I want to turn you into an energy whiz so you can become an expert on yourself. But first, I'm going to introduce you to 4 former clients of mine who offer wonderful examples of how successful and rewarding this process can be. These individuals are just 4 of the thousands I've assisted in focusing on their subtle energetic structures to clear their challenges and gain control of their lives. Over time, each also turned into their own best ancestor, the self who can sort through history, be present in the present, and establish future pathways of love and good health. The rest of this chapter starts with the logical question: what exactly is this subtle energy again? I know you listened to the introduction, but heck, that was introductory. Not only will I answer that question fully, but I'll cover corollary topics such as frequencies and quanta. As I round out the discussion of energy, specifically subtle energy, I'll present the kicker. You are able to assess and direct subtle energies because the power to do so is inherent in you and available through the universe. This natural ability is consciousness. Modern science will show that you can use this accessible tool to shift subtle energies while simultaneously tapping into the universe for support. In fact, I'll end the chapter with a short exercise that features intention, so you can start experiencing your own potency right away. My short and sweet hope for you: at the end of this initial journey, I hope you'll be able to say this: no matter what has gone before me or is imprisoning me right now, it's all a matter of energy. Even my DNA, life codes, and feelings are energy. Although energy can get set in unhealthy ways, it can also be changed for the better. A meet and greet. Meet my 4 amazing clients who did energy work to become their own best ancestors. Story: Johanna. Johanna had always been creative, but had not moved her work from paintbrush to gallery. She would dabble, nearly complete a canvas, and then wander off track, despite the support she'd received from her high school and college art instructors. They compared her style to Georgia O'Keeffe's. But whenever she tried to show her work or display it for sale, she was felled by anxiety. Frustrated with herself and super bored in a not-for-her-job as an accountant, Johanna journeyed through one of her chakras as a portal into her genetic history. Was there someone back there whose life experience was stymieing her own? She was amazed at how vividly she could perceive a long-ago maternal ancestress in her mind's eye. The woman had windswept hair and wore a smock over her long dress. The ancestress stared at Johanna with eyes that held both fear and rage. Then she revealed that she had been killed while expressing her artistic abilities. Basically, the anxiety Johanna was feeling was actually her ancestress's panic. Science tells us that our ancestors' life events and attitudes are stored as chemicals around our genes. These can impact our current decisions to the point of stirring emotions that we don't fully relate to. As part of our session, Johanna benevolently sent healing messages to this ancestress and also decided that she didn't need to be inhibited as an artist anymore. times have changed, she told her progenitor. Her art-avoidant behavior and fear having disappeared since that day, Johanna has now completed a PhD in art. She is an acclaimed painter in her area and teaches art history at a local college. Story: Amari. Amari engaged with me because of an autoimmune disorder. His physicians couldn't determine the exact nature of the disease process, only that antibodies were attacking his healthy cells. I encouraged him to continue medical testing and decided to address his symptoms energetically through one of his meridians, which are channels of subtle energy that run through the connective tissue. We discovered a past life issue on the energetic level. Amari's soul, the part of the self that travels from lifetime to lifetime to learn about love, carried the imprint of a traumatic demise caused by the Black Death in the Middle Ages. I find that mysterious disease processes can be linked to illnesses from another time. The emotional and physical trauma of that previous death had locked into his soul, and it activated when he feared falling ill during the first years of the COVID-19 pandemic. After he embraced the feelings of powerlessness that arose during the pandemic and met his soul with compassionate understanding, Amari's condition began to improve. Story: Arie. Arie was an 80-year-old man who had suffered from bouts of anxiety his entire life. Many of its causes originated in his childhood during this lifetime. Growing up at the tail end of World War II, with a father stricken with combat-related post-traumatic stress disorder, Arie attributed many of his issues to being exposed to his dad's violence. I admired how many years Arie had spent in therapy, to the point of using ayahuasca as a sacred medicine to calm his nervous system. Yet, he was underwhelmed with the results. So how did energy healing assist Arie? He cleaned the programming in his chakras through his nadis, the subtle channels that move through and operate as nerves. It took about 6 sessions before he reported feeling chill much of the time. As you'll learn, your nadis are part of the polyvagal system, the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn reactions to stress. Story: Martina. Martina had spent years pursuing various forms of assistance, to no avail. One problem was that she didn't know how to describe her issue. She simply felt like a part of her was missing, that a vital aspect of her identity was unavailable to her. It's hard to explain an empty space. Because of this missing piece, Martina had a difficult time putting herself out there and making friends. She felt lackluster and even dishonest during her exchanges with others. I helped her reach through her auric field to a set of otherworldly realities called the imaginal realms, which you'll learn about in Chapter 10. In one of those realms, which are realities that are available to us all, she was greeted by a parallel self, a part of her soul living in a concurrent space and time. This other Martina was whole and complete. By absorbing that parallel self's ability to relate and express, Martina felt fulfilled in this life space. She started meeting new people and last reported that she was ecstatically in love with a warm, loving woman. You've now walked for a short while with these amazing human beings, long enough to perceive that the subtle body can serve as a primary vessel for addressing soul, legacy, and hybrid challenges. The body's energetic structures are available for this type of creative change because of the nature of energy, specifically subtle energy. The subtle energy of energy. You know how fun it is to be so energized that you leap out of bed in the morning, or at least get the dishes done without struggling. Compare that to the low energy moments when you lack the strength to even use a dish while you eat. We all want to shine as bright as the sun, no matter the clouds that will inevitably come our way. The irony is that to have an awesome amount of everyday energy, you must tap into your subtle energies. I'll show you why. Remember our formula from the introduction, that energy is simply information that vibrates? Let's start there. Information is simply influential data. I like emphasizing the influential because the world, your world, is full of data that usually doesn't matter. For example, review your yesterday. There are 1,440 minutes in 24 hours. It's exhausting to break those minutes into seconds, but go ahead if you feel like it. How many of those minuscule moments were actually pivotal for you? Sure, at some level, every moment counts, except that most of them don't. You can make the same statement about your genes. You have between 20,000 and 25,000 genes. Only about 1% of those genes create a difference in your life, though at least some of the non-coding genes, like your epigenome, can impact cellular health and more. Within your epigenome chemicals, which hold your ancestors' memories, only a handful impact you, negatively or positively. The implication is that there is a mountain of genetic data. It is difficult for trained scientists to sift through all of it to pinpoint what matters, so how can we? In this audiobook, you'll be using intuition, knowledge, logic, and the vehicles of your subtle body to discover and sometimes even alter the relevant data. The good news is that you get to ignore the rest. The other half of our energy formula is vibration, which is movement. Everything moves all the time. Even when you're fast asleep, every part of you, big or tiny, is fluctuating. All that movement adds up to what looks, feels, and seems like solid reality. One way we measure these oscillations is via their frequencies. A frequency is the number of occurrences of an event that repeat during a certain period. Here's an example. When I was younger, I played the violin. To stay on track, I'd use a metronome. The tick-tock helped me with the rhythm of a song or the playing of octaves. One whole note equaled one tick. That's a frequency. Every single part of you functions best at an optimal range of frequencies. When playing my instrument, if I went off frequency, the music sounded horrible. Your greater self functions in the same way. If your vibration is really off, you'll be unhealthy. That can happen under many conditions, including if you inherit energies that don't suit you or are surrounded by off-kilter energies. The term that describes the healthy range of frequencies of a certain body part, or of your soul, or the entirety of your life, is preferred frequencies. One of the assumptions in this audiobook is that you are and have an optimal set of frequencies that is a sum total of the various aspects of you. In the end, data and vibration fit together like cogs in the wheel of your authentic self to sustain wholeness or healthiness. When something throws you off balance, you need to fix it. And that is what you'll be accomplishing through this audiobook. It's called frequency balancing. You perform frequency balancing all the time. Think about a time when you were so cold or hot that you couldn't stand it. When you are freezing indoors, you turn up the heat. When you are boiling hot, you switch on the air conditioning. By turning up the furnace or the air conditioner, you are activating resonant frequencies in the house that will bring ease. You have two main handles for creating the balance needed for a great life. You can interact with the frequencies of either physical energies or subtle energies. By the way, this is where I prove why it's much more powerful and efficient to work with subtle energies than physical ones. The logic is this. Since everything is energy, all life challenges, including inherited ones, are energetic. Since everything is energy, all antidotes are energetic as well. To create health and joy, you can obviously alter your physical energies, such as by changing behavior, diet, or more. But physical energies are a super small part of you and the world. So they constitute a slow way of transforming. The faster and more potent energetic means of shifting your life, it involves interacting with your subtle energies. They are quick and all-powerful. The challenge of interacting with the subtle energies is the previous point, that they are quick and potent. By better understanding the rules and operations of subtle energies and the role of employing your consciousness, you can access these energies and cultivate creative change. The rules of subtle change. In a way, subtle energies are like toddlers running wild in a huge playroom. They'll charge around, knocking things, and each other, over. Every so often, one of them will drop to the floor and fall asleep. They just can't keep spinning like that forever. There are energetic rules we can use, however, to tame and direct the wildest of toddlers, or subtle energies. The rules of subtle energy, those that determine how to create or maintain the most desirable physical reality, are all part of quantum physics, the study of quanta, the smallest units of reality. Quanta equate with subtle energies, and what is truly interesting about quanta is that they are both waves and particles at the same time, and you are too. The wave aspect of quanta, and you, means that you can embrace greater ideals and make big changes quickly. The particle component of quanta, and you, speaks to the ability to focus on a small detail and create a tiny alteration. When interacting with quanta, or subtle energies, you can go macro and micro at the same or at different times. In terms of transforming your legacy, healing your historical issues might require grabbing hold of the endless waves of subtle energies that emanate from yesterday. By making an adjustment in those waves, you can help an ancestor or your own soul, and end up changing a key aspect of your current reality and potential future. Particle-wise, you could also connect to a specific memory from an ancestor's life, or from one of your past lives or childhood. Rethink what occurred, and you might alter your thought process, and therefore, your destiny. There is a set of quantum rules that reinforce your innate ability to transform your legacy. The major ones reveal that scientifically, quanta can do the following: become here or real when they are observed. Otherwise, they are sort of drifting around as, or within, waves, which is not terribly clear or productive in 3D reality. But you can learn how to make decisions that create the reality you want, not merely the one you inherited. Go anywhere they want, like untended toddlers, until you call for organization. Yep, no matter where or when the quanta are needed, you can call them to order and create anew from there. Obey something called the uncertainty principle. This is a super strange theory. Basically, it asserts that there is a limit to what we can measure regarding quantum wave particles. For instance, we can figure out their position or momentum, but not both simultaneously. The uncertainty principle, formulated in 1927, is traditionally considered proof that nothing can move faster than the speed of light. Newer propositions, however, suggest that information can move faster than light if traveling within warped time-space. The uncertainty principle leaves room for this quicksilver travel, in that quanta exist in a sea of fields that are ever-changing, allowing for the possibility of data transfer at speeds faster than light. My own theory is that information can move faster than the speed of light, even if, as Einstein said, it's terribly difficult, maybe impossible, to get mass up to that speed quickly. Think on this idea. It means that you can interact with subtle energies to get information instantly or make changes supersonically. You can read data about yesterday, peer into other todays, and conjecture about best tomorrows. Once they have been connected, quanta and everything else remain linked together and interactive. This is called entanglement theory. It suggests that you impact everyone and everything else, and vice versa, even if separated from them by time and space. We're arriving at the steering wheel of subtle and physical reality. It's called consciousness. The consciousness of the universe, and you. One of the reasons Johanna, Amari, Arie, and Martina, my clients in the previous examples, were able to better their lives is that they became aware of their ability to assess and control subtle energies. Said more plainly, they became conscious. I'll give you my version of consciousness, as well as the science and application of this concept. Consciousness is empowered awareness. Your consciousness can decide when quanta move out of and into history and the present, and also which quanta get locked into the 3D stage of right now or tomorrow. You're not alone in this effort. It might be that the universe is conscious too. The fundamental notion behind my last statement is that everything is interconnected within the universal quantum field. This enormous field is also called the universe, universal consciousness, and the quantum information field, among several other terms that basically sound the same. The thinking is that the universe stores data in geometric forms. As everything does, this information is constantly vibrating. If your energy matches or resonates with an energy held in the greater field, the universal energy is added to your own energy. Zoom. With that extra pow, you might get a huge healing, gain a gigantic aha, or run the entire 26-mile marathon. This interactive sharing means that everything in your current life is here because you're holding and expressing frequencies or programs that sustain what is appearing. A program is a code. Therapists often use the word program to talk about beliefs. A belief might sound like a truth, but it might not actually be true. It might simply be an opinion, but these are all powerful in that they tend to run our thinking, and therefore our perceptions and actions. When numerous programs get together and interact, they create patterns. Most patterns are templates that defy the conscious mind. In other words, they often run on autopilot, which makes life simpler but also often unhealthy. Quite frequently, many of our troubles are caused by programs running within patterns that cause us to feel, behave, or see ourselves or the world in inaccurate and unhelpful ways. Inherited frequencies, like all programs and patterns, may or may not support your genuine self. Most of us ingested lots of harmful or dislikable programs from our ancestors, in addition to picking them up during childhood and from the greater culture around us. In general, you probably aren't aware of the swarms of subtle energies causing your contemporary reality, but they are omnipresent. the universe will keep reinforcing them unless you compose different messaging. Because of quantum entanglement, the impact of one thing on another, making one change can produce lots of other changes. The power of intention. Intention is focused consciousness. When we compose an intention or create a statement or idea of what we'd like to occur, and we throw our energy behind it, quantum wave particles interact and can create a different reality. That means we can eliminate what is stuck and lock what we desire into 3D. I love the research showing how effective the power of conscious declaration can be. I'll give you a couple of other examples. Let's talk food and water. Heck, how about chocolate? Study after study has shown that sending positive intentions into various foodstuffs, including chocolate, improved the gastronomical experience or taste and the moods of those sampling the programmed goods. If chocolate isn't your thing, how about wine? One study revealed that 11 out of 12 wine drinkers preferred the taste of positively influenced wine, even though they didn't know that the beverage had been tampered with. You are intentional all the time, even if you don't know it. If you think that a piece of pie will taste bad, it probably will. If you have an upbeat attitude when you try a new food, you'll probably like it. The key is to seize control of your attitude and compose intentions quite deliberately, which you'll be doing through the exercises in this audiobook. The easiest way to form an intention is to create a statement of desire. There are 3 basic parts to that formula. First, be clear about the desire. Second, you must phrase the goal in present time, as if it already exists. And third, you should employ uplifting language. Positivity begets positivity. Intention can seem like a very simple approach to performing quantum change, maybe even too simple. Remember that the key to altering reality is to be conscious of what you desire. As you practice intention in the upcoming practice, be aware of the fact that you are making a decision that will shape and reshape quantum or subtle energies. Profound change can be simple. Practice. Creating an intention. Think of something about your physical or mental health that you would like to change. Are you desiring a bodily healing or to move through trauma? Formulate that interest into a present tense statement. Following is an example. I am fully recovered from the imbalance that has been impacting me physically or emotionally. Before committing to your goal, feel into your body and imagine that the goal has been accomplished. Yes, it's happened. You are living the dream. How many times a day do you think you should repeat that intention? Sing it, shout it, write it, or play act it until it fully actualizes? Trust your intuition and get going. Our quantum rules suggest that the universe will respond to what you're assuming is already true. Summary. When it comes to the composition of your current reality, subtle energies are king and queen. When it comes down to altering your world, the same is true. Subtle energies equate with quanta, which are slightly pesky but totally omnipresent wave particles that obey quantum rules. The most effective way to shift your world is to employ your consciousness with intention while inviting the universe to help.